Just when you thought it was over, we started it over. Just a different chapter, but still part of the story. Spirit of a patriot, but the heart of a soldier. If you wasn't part of the grind, you can't be part of the glory. We right here, we ain't going nowhere. It's your worst nightmare. We back and they all scared. Every year is our year. The defense is top tier. Whenever you see that red and blue, it's a new era. They too scared of us. I don't know who said it was over, but they lied. The truth never miss, kicking down the door like who let him in. We been grinding and we ain't worried about the small talk. We big timers.
Yeah, can't believe it, we ain't leaving. Yeah, we achieving, can't be beaten. Say it loud, say it proud from the top of my lungs. Hometown, second crown, you ain't trying with us. Around this time, you really can't deny. You can't run, you can't hide when the Patriot comes.
All right, everyone. Welcome to the Patriots Friday Night Lights podcast. We are back again. I'm here with Dog Nate. Football is officially over. This is the worst time of the year. I was okay with the outcome. We're kind of talking a little bit off air. I think I just wanted the Chiefs to lose more than I wanted the Eagles to lose. Or as a Pats fan, right, we didn't want the three-peat. I didn't want Tom Brady to have to witness that live as well.
Right.
But, yeah, that was got a big thing. Patriots dynasty still unbothered. I mean, that was a horrible game by the Chiefs. I'm glad that the talks of him being the GOAT are over for now. They'll play start up next year, but at least for the next couple months, they're off.
Yeah, for sure. Like, and that's why I just tell people just legacies. Like, yeah, it's good to see what the Chiefs do. Like all the praise to them, as well as the Eagles. But when you start nearing the range of where you try to downgrade the combination of Brady and Belichick because of maybe an accelerated rise of Patrick Mahomes in a more current passing era, because I don't think people really understand where we came from with all this. Like, you know what I mean? You as a Patriots fan, we understand that we came from a run-first heavy league. We went through those transitions. Along the way, we lost 2 Super Bowls, and then down the stretch, we won another 3. And that's all in a 20-year span. So what Mahomes is doing over these last couple of years is great. But if it showed anything in the last couple of years is there's cracks in the armor. Before you can even compare either of them to Bill or Tom or even Gronk, you gotta look at it over a stretch of time and just strategically how they come up big in these games. Because regardless of what Rob Gronkowski was late in his career, when he was in the Super Bowls with Tom, he made plays. Even in that 13-3 Super Bowl with us versus the Rams, down the stretch, Rob Gronkowski made the biggest catch down the sideline to set Sony Michel up for the lone touchdown of the game. Tampa Bay versus Kansas City.
Yeah, he had, 2 touchdowns, right?
2 touchdowns. Yeah, like it was like Rob, those guys knew how to show up, and that's not taking anything away from what the Chiefs are building. And that's not to even say that it's over. I'm not saying that, but it does show that like before they could even put them in the same stratosphere or even talk about like what we were or what we weren't. It's just completely different. Because like I say, the Patriots morphed with the league.
Right. Yep.
Tom Brady won 3 on the first end of his career and 3 and 4 on the back end. You feel me? So he had a Hall of Fame type career twice.
Yeah, I'm curious. I didn't realize how big of a offseason the Chiefs are about to face. Like it's like their whole offensive line, it might change. The defense is going to change dramatically, especially in like the linebacker position. And then obviously Kelsey is more than likely than not to retire. Right? This is kind of like we'll see how they are able to morph. Right? They technically did when Tyreek left, but I mean that was only one player. So I'm really interested to see how they're able to handle this offseason. Right? I think Patrick Mahomes. I think he has the most like the biggest cap hit this year. Which I mean that's an easy thing to fix. They just either push it down the line or just make it a signing bonus. But
Right.
I didn't really see how big of an offseason they're about to face, especially after like such a loss. Right. This is where they start to kind of make themselves in conversation with the Patriots, is if they're able to continue this after losing so many key pieces and changing their whole philosophy. Because, like you said, we did that, 3 or 4 times just with Tom Brady in there, and we were always able to succeed. So, yeah, I'm just glad that the GOAT talks with those 3 are kind of over at the moment, right? I don't know if you saw that Kelsey video where Mahomes was kind of scrambling and he was just like standing there doing absolutely nothing.
Yeah, I think I've seen it.
That was pretty brutal. That makes me think that he's gonna more likely than not retire. I mean, there's just no effort out there, and I can't think of a time Gronk ever did something like that. So, as a Pats fan, I'm a little happy for the boys that that kind of talk off for now.
And part of me, I'm not gonna lie, part of me felt like Mahomes was gonna win, but that's not to take. I'm not even gonna sit here and like, oh, we can't see that back game. No, Philly whooped. They whooped on them.
Oh yeah,
They got all over them, and sometimes, usually, that's what happens with the great quarterbacks. Teams are figuring it out. The same thing teams figured it out with Tom. I forget who probably was the first person to employ it. Maybe the Giants. That's why we ended up losing to them. Get pressure with 4, and that's the more men that you can keep on the back end. You know what I mean? Now you don't have that threat of having to take somebody out of coverage. And Tom Brady, for what he couldn't get outside the pocket. Patrick Mahomes, he can, but Philly did a great job of cutting him off and not giving him those lanes where he can really step up and climb in the pocket the way that he wants to. The pocket was getting pushed from the front with Jordan Davis and Carter. You got Sweat coming off the side, and that other guy, Hunt. They were getting downhill. Nolan Smith, that's not the they
just got dogs everywhere. Yeah,
they did it, and not to mention they played too high shell safety, which is a weakness to Mahomes. Yep. And that's Vic Fangio's. That's his philosophy. That I think is match cover 4, something like that, where he usually never drops another safety in the box, and he rarely blitzes. But I guess it's some type of defensive philosophy umbrella, and then everybody have their own philosophy. I read on it a while ago. That's why I can't really get too deep in it right now. But yeah, they definitely did a great job, and it just didn't seem like there was no strategic adjustment by the Chiefs at all. They didn't sense of urgency, because it was like I felt like the Chiefs' plan was Xavier Worthy, which what they went to late in the game to score, but I feel like he was going to be the focal point, and they were going to use his speed. Now, mind you, there were times that he looked like he was breaking open, but the offensive line couldn't hold up.
Right, yeah.
That was the difference, right?
It's hard to complete a pass when Jalen Carter is like right in front of your face every single play. Yeah, the Eagles just had a flawless game plan, and I mean they are literally just stacked to the nines at every single position.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the question for the Chiefs is going to come down to this. Now that you're the ones picking at 31 and 29 and 28, will we still see this same dynasty over, over what we're saying? Because it's like you got teams like, who can I say? A team that might be not that bad, but they're sitting. They could be sitting in a prime position in the draft to get another good player and kind of flip their season around. In the sense we're talking about AFC, Chargers maybe.
Yeah, that was kind of the only name, but like they made the playoffs, so they're not really
Yeah, Dolphins. Well, I feel like that's going down.
I would say Dolphins are like the people that they have already are it's the problem, not really getting the draft position. Like
Close,
they're gonna crumble.
closest thing I can say is probably
I
the
guess Broncos
Jags.
maybe. Yeah,
Yeah,
like
the Jags. It would have to
Jags.
be the Jags.
Yeah.
If Trevor Lawrence is who we think, well, who he was marketed to be, or who some think he could be at his peak, then that could get a little tricky. But you got Houston over there, and not to mention you got Drake May up in New England. I really feel like with the right plan with us, I feel like this thing could work.
We could make some noise
Yeah,
this
because I
year.
was even looking at like over the last couple of days, like I honestly went back and looked at every draft from 2020 all the way up to 2023, just the second and third rounds, because I wanted to pay attention to who was coming off the board and what I mean, who
Mhm.
they are now, and pay close attention to the Patriots. All right, who we take care, and who the hell went after these players that went on to be somebody, and now we got this guy on our roster. You might not want to watch 2022 at all. Like it just gets brutal in the second round. It gets brutal.
I know.
It gets so bad.
Yeah.
But I look at it and look at the Rams. All right, their defense started to click, and they stayed afloat. And they built, especially their defensive line over the 2 years. I think it was 2023 and 2024. They took Byron Young out of Tennessee on the edge, and they also ended up taking who was the DT? I tweeted about it earlier. I forget his name. Probably popped in my head, but they took another
Yeah.
defensive tackle. I think in the third again, and then this past year they took Jared Verse, and they
Right.
also took Braden Friss.
Yeah.
I believe his name is, and all those guys were productive. And the Rams gave the Eagles the closest matchup they seen in that whole playoffs. Everybody else, they just kind of like blew them out. So the
Yeah.
Rams,
That's very true.
but there's rumors about Matthew Stafford out there too. I don't know how true that is. I don't know if the Rams will be really ready to just completely gut that team like that. But then again, it would make sense if they're looking maybe 2 years from now, 3 years from now, because his arch is what you think he could be.
Yeah.
Somebody's gonna want to.
I
Somebody's
think
gonna want to
running
be
it back one more year with Stafford and just, especially like with their trading Cooper Cup, like might as well just kind of see how he is. Maybe they draft a receiver or something. Just because it's not like he's a liability, right? I mean,
Yeah.
they made it all the way, a couple rounds in the playoffs, and he played well. I don't see him really having an issue with like keeping up, but that's why I kind of think it's just they'll just do another year and then kind of go from there. If anything, they just find someone young already in the league, right? Because they're not going to have a top 15 pick. At least they're not supposed to.
That's
So
what I'm saying. You don't think they're cleaning the house early, getting everybody out the way, so now it's like okay, and then by year 2, you're down on your ass, but you're in position to
yeah,
take the next great generational quarterback. And I feel like that trend's always going to go up. A next great generational quarterback, because, like I said, the game is just so catered to passing now. So,
right.
and that's why even the Mahomes and Brady argument, that's what I try to get off to people too, is that Mahomes passes a lot more than Tom was earlier in his career. So that's why some of and he's in a passing era now where he has a coach. Now I can give Andy Reid that. Offensively, he seemed like he shifted to where he can still keep up with these younger coaches, but obviously he just lost to Sirianni. Like I don't know.
Devastating loss.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't see no strategic adjustment.
They never ran. Like I
Anything.
felt like that all they did was pass, which like seemed like an automatic loss to begin with, right? Especially with having like Saquon and Derrick Henry, just seeing how important running backs are. Like I'm surprised they didn't. They've been running all season, and just in the Super Bowl they just only Mahomes, and it was just like they like try to completely change everything for the Super Bowl, and it didn't work.
Yeah, they felt better, I guess, attacking their passing game because trying to run it against Jordan Davis and Carter could get a little bit hard, but it doesn't stop them from trying because they got to get tired at some point. Jalen Carter got winded. I would have looked back at his game Georgia versus Ohio State in college. It's a while ago, but it does show that it can happen. And what started to happen was Jalen Carter. The more Ohio State kept Georgia on the field, Jalen Carter started becoming less and less effective because he was tired. He's human just like everybody else. I get what he is at his peak, but I'm going to look for any type of strategic edge to where I'm trying to do this thing. Because, look at how the Patriots were coming in some of those Super Bowls. Aaron Donald, they was not letting him touch Tom. You already knew that was the order of the day. Listen.
Yeah, that was
that happened, but that guy right there, all eyes are to be on him at all times.
Yeah, he was the threat.
Yeah.
Right. Jalen Ramsey is easy to not take over the game. You just don't throw the ball to him. Right. So it's not there's you don't have to scheme up for Jalen Ramsey all too much. It's more just Aaron Donald cannot get to Brady. And that's yeah, and I guess that's what the Chiefs were trying to do with Carter, but like we said, there's 30 other players on that team that are just gonna smoke them out.
And
just roster wise, it was just game over. It didn't even matter coaching wise. They're just such a better team.
Yeah, it was crazy. Devontae Smith became the first Alabama player to score touchdown in the Super Bowl.
That's crazy.
We clamped Julio Jones.
Right. Yeah.
We clamped him up. That's the thing with the Patriots. Whoever the threat was, whether it was offensively or defensively, they did not let them come in there and wreck games. It just didn't happen.
Yeah, we never had a blowout in any or any.
No, it was always a nail biter to the end. Usually with us, as I said, the Giants lost the first one. The helmet, that, I feel like that was just a touch of voodoo or craft because it's Eli was sacked, and then not only did he get out the sack, he heaves it up in the air, and the guy comes down with.
It's the luckiest play of all time. If you run 100 times, that happens once, and it happened to
seriously, that's why I couldn't even. Everybody's like, "Oh, this and that happened. That's why they lost to the Giants." Grit and luck. We'll give the Giants credit. It was grit and luck. They battled it out with us, but I wouldn't particularly put the blame at anybody's feet to say, "Oh, this and that happened." Yeah, Bill shouldn't have called that blitz down towards the goal line. The game-stealing touchdown from Plaxico Burress, but like I said, he had the play stopped. Guy made the catch.
We had perfect defense, and it just didn't happen. It was
and then Mario Manning him.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw the Jets made it official with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Kick him to the curb.
Yeah.
The Jets are the funniest organization of all time. Every time there's anything about the Jets, it's just so sad and pathetic.
Yeah.
And just so funny.
It's almost like drama TV at this point. I would love I would watch that if that was a show and it just said no reality show. It's just a script written. The New York Jets.
It'd be hilarious. It'd be so funny.
Oh my God, I will watch it.
I don't know how an organization, they just constantly make the worst decisions. But getting Rodgers obviously was a good decision at the time. No one was disputing that. Mm-hmm. And it ended up being just horrible. How do you mess up having Aaron Rodgers? Like, how does that fall apart like that?
Well, I can
It's
tell you.
so funny.
Yeah, I can tell you it was one that Achilles, but two before we
Right.
even
Which
get to
is
the
still
injury.
like, that's Jets voodoo right there.
Yeah.
His Achilles blowing out.
Before we even get to the injury, it's like they just never fully addressed that tackle position. And you see the first thing Tampa did when Tom Brady came there, they got him a tackle. They already knew, listen, we're going to keep this guy protected. The Jets, that's the draft there where we got Gonzalez. They said we spammed the Jets, where we let the Steelers trade up and things like that because we know they want an offensive lineman. And then we still traded back. And obviously we got, a top 5 player out of that draft, clearly.
Yeah.
And the Jets didn't get their guy. And Mekhi Becton just went to Philly, won a Super Bowl playing guard.
Right. And he did good. He's a good player for them.
Sam Darnold just threw for 40 touchdowns this year.
It's just
Leonard Williams is still having, and that's a shame on the Giants and the Jets. Leonard Williams is going crazy over in Seattle. Who else was on the freaking Jets that went somewhere else and now they just look better? Like, that's where it be sometimes where certain players is like people like, oh, that person's a bust. A part of me do feel bad for some of these guys and where they're going.
Oh, that was with the Panthers. Never mind. I was thinking of Baker Mayfield, but that's with the Panthers, with him and Darnold. But like the Jets, I don't know what it is, but it never works out.
I think it's been the kid all this time with the Madden Raiders. It's been him.
Yeah, and I mean it has to be, right? Like what
the hell? Yeah, to take his PlayStation. We want to see those files.
Right. The earth or the sun always rises. There's always gravity, and the Jets always fuck things up. Like it's constant. Like when they made the AFC Championship, where like that weird fluke thing with Mark Sanchez, that lasted a year. And then there's the butt fumble, right? You can name more things that happened with Mark Sanchez and like all the stuff that happened. Like it's just awesome. It makes me the Patriots the last 5 years we've been terrible, but the Jets have always been terrible, and you can at least always rely on the Jets to be worse.
No, it's like every time. How many times have you seen on the screen just Jets fans like, and then a guy with his painted face and a hard helmet?
Why do they go so hard? You can't be that big of a fan of a team like that. Yeah. What are we doing? Like, there's like the guy who does like the chant every time. What is dude? There's no way you're that big of a Jets fan.
They're always the team that they either get what we did with Marcus Jones, things like that happen.
Right? Yeah.
They miss a kick wide right, wide left, and just they overhype a player, and the player comes in and underperforms. I don't feel like they ever got their hands on a good coach. I think Saleh possibly could have been that. And
yeah, they just never could figure out the quarterback.
And it's just like, all jokes aside, like that's just sad for an organization because they definitely have some good players. But as we're looking at them, it's like, yo, listen, whatever Super Bowl window y'all thought y'all had, these players bought into that. So it's like, we would tell them, like, obviously, realistically, looking at players like Sauce Gardner and Garrett Wilson, like, okay, those guys came in the same year. Hey, listen, guys, not everybody makes this big jump to the Super Bowl within their first 2-3 years, but maybe in year 5, year 6. But it kind of sounds low-key, kind of like they want to get out of there because
I was going to say, yeah. I think both of them might be requesting a trade this year. Yeah, there's a legit possibility. Like, the Jets have had really good drafts recently, and it literally, right, offensive and defensive rookie of the year in the same year, and it hasn't panned out to anything. Like, I think those two are going to ask for a trade. I could definitely see Garrett Wilson offense has been the worst part, and he's been a part of it. I see him wanting a trade.
On the ball.
Yeah, Sauce Gardner. Both of those guys are going to bring in heavy requests. Like everyone's going to want Sauce Gardner. Everyone's going to want Garrett Wilson. And
And
then, you know,
players like that usually don't touch the market
right,
unless you're in an organization like the Browns or the Jets.
right. Yep.
You know,
Quinn Williams. I mean, I don't know what his contract is like, right? Because I know he just signed it, but he's a player that potentially him and his brother, right?
DJ
Brees
Reed,
Hall in a couple of years. Like,
DJ Reed's up for
yep, DJ Reed's a free agent, right?
hold up. Yes, baby. Okay. But yeah, DJ Reed's a free agent this year. So
Right. It's
that
really, really ugly.
and you got your top edge rusher. He's coming off of a ACL tear.
Yeah.
Tremaine Johnson, like you said, and you coming in, you got a whole new coach. So now you got a whole new culture, I guess that now that needs to be established. And he's about to run maybe a completely different defensive scheme. Or possibly maybe the same one. I mean, he did just have Steve Wilkes, but one thing I know about Steve Wilkes is he's very blitz heavy.
Mm-hmm.
And the way the Jets kind of built that defense up, kind of pay attention to that that 4-3 cover 3 scheme that Sala and all
Right.
those guys out that San Francisco tree like to run. If you ever notice, there's a similarity between the linebackers that's in these systems. They're usually converted safeties. The you look at Fred Warner for the 49ers, and then the Jets, Jamin, was it? No, not Jamin Davis. Who's the safety from Auburn? Sherfield? Sherwood?
I think it's Sherfield.
Something like that. They brought him down to the middle. Obviously, you still got Quincy Williams in there. Damn, it's a couple. But Jacksonville just switched up.
Yeah, Sherwood. Yeah.
Yeah, Sherwood. Just you look at those are the leaner linebackers, those guys that can run, kind of cover up and eat up space over the middle of the field. Like the Jets, their whole defensive philosophy might shift once again. Yeah, it's good that you got players like Quentin Williams and Sauce Gardner because they're scheme proof, but those guys that you were heavily relying on, those developmental pieces, things like that, that's who it interrupts. You know, people like a star player is going to be a star player. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
But
Yeah.
developmental plan, when you going in with these players, like now they got to shift because the organization is saying, oh, guys, we made a mistake. Keep putting your bodies on the line and fighting and keeping the Jet Pride strong. And we're trying to get somebody in here. When?
Right. Like they've done like so many different options and they've never worked out. Like Sauce Gardner, you're telling me the Bengals wouldn't give up like a first round pick from him after their season?
I would, because if you feel like you're going to be that deep in the playoffs,
like the Jets
especially
they have to act like they're cleaning house because everyone's going to want to leave. And right, all those draft picks that like, built up like this great defense, if they all want to leave, you got to start from scratch. Like you can't try to like hold on to like this great couple of years of drafting because I mean it's over, right? The Rodgers experiment I think has ruined everything that they tried to build because they built it up to like you're saying like this Super Bowl window that they created. Now that they're clearly out, no one's gonna want to be in there. Sauce Gardner and Garrett Wilson aren't gonna want to wait for another Super Bowl window when the one that they thought they were in literally didn't exist. They're not going to do that again, especially when they know they can go to any team that they want.
To be completely honest with you, I think if they would have stuck it out with Zach Wilson, they might have would have been all right. Honestly,
he stinks.
I think, but like I said, the developmental part of it, all this shifting and moving around, you react in a certain way because of the media is telling you they were never this team that was that good. I never seen it, but like I said, when your owners and everything is listening to what the media is saying about you now,
Yeah.
because you're the new toy. They were the new toy for the while. Like I said, the offensive player, defensive player of the year. So, no, former number 2 pick in the draft. Yeah, when that came with that, all right, he came into the NFL with his struggles, but I feel like, yeah, he might have been bad long term. Who knows? But the Jets never really give any of these guys time.
Yeah,
Or
they had like a Super
opportunity.
Bowl winning defense, right? I mean, they were the best defense in the league at one point, and I think they just relied very heavy on that narrative, and that's why they went out for Rodgers, or they try to capitalize on this great defense, but then not really realizing like how far off the offense was. Like they had Garrett Wilson, but that was kind of it,
Right.
and then they went out and got 40-year-old quarterback and thought he was gonna be like Tom
Got
Brady
all
and
his buddies, got all his guys
right.
jobs,
Yeah,
which
like
I have
they
nothing wrong with that. Like it's like if those your guys, those your guys. But I'm just saying, like that was a poop show.
yeah. I mean, there's no other way to describe it. It was just worst case scenario.
It
Worst
was
case scenario. It had. I mean,
it was
yeah,
crazy. Statistically, his numbers doesn't even look that bad, but it's just the narrative that surrounded the team is just
right. Like he had like a decent year. Like if he was like a rookie, right? Great year.
yeah. If he was a rookie, that would have been a
But
great
like
year.
they won 6 games. They were supposed to be a 12-win game, like 12-win season, and it's Rodgers, right? He's supposed to like not throw interceptions, and he threw
Yep.
like the most interceptions he's ever thrown, which granted
Mhm.
was only like 13 or something, but right, like to the standard, like you're saying, like to the standard of Rodgers, to the standard of being a Super Bowl team, it was just nowhere's near. Right, they're only 2 games away from what we were, and this is like one of the worst years the Patriots have ever had in franchise
Right.
history.
And
Right, like
that was the funny part about it is that so much is pointed towards like, yeah, we have no talent. This we have no. Listen, when I don't believe all our guys are just that terrible and downright bad. Yeah, offensive line definitely needs a shakeup. Like I said, definitely at wide receiver, but as you can see, there's guys climbing. Like I said, I like the Anthony Jennings of the world. I feel like Keon White could take another step this year. Hopefully a healthy Jawan Bentley with back, captain on the defense. Christian Gonzalez, Kyle Duggar. Hopefully he's healthy. And then we can see more of what we saw in the 2021 and 2022 years of Kyle Duggar.
Barmore,
Yeah,
fully recovered.
Baltimore, and if we have to take Mason Graham right there, that's a lethal, or if they take the offensive line. Now we're gonna take offensive line and trade back. You feel
Yeah,
me? Trade back, get something, do something. It's just this this year, this draft, like it just seems so wacky. Some of the stories that I see coming out. Matthew Stafford to the Giants because the Giants don't even like the quarterbacks that's there. Miles
yeah,
Garrett trying to get the hell out of Cleveland.
yeah. I was just kind of talking like this offseason. I think there'd be like a couple big moves, like right, T. Higgins, Cooper Cup, Miles Garrett. Those are like the big names. But outside of that, I think it's just going to be kind of like a goofy, like weird offseason. Like teams aren't looking for a quarterback, so I think like the Sam Darnolds of the worlds are going to be kind of getting moved around, getting crazy money, and right, it's just be a lot of teams trying to settle and just move on to the next year. Like it's definitely a weird year because I don't really think there's gonna be much going on. I think after T. Higgins, it's just gonna kind of be like, okay, yep, that move makes sense. Okay, yeah. Like there's not gonna
Yeah,
be like I think T. Higgins that's like the number one thing going into this offseason. I think
yeah.
just leave wide.
I actually heard something on the thing, which would be like that would be insane. But they saying the Patriots talking about invested in free agency and in the draft, O line and D line, which is fine. But if you got a receiver like T. Higgins on the market, I don't give a listen. You get him here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We have
Like
to.
like that would be my objective from Kraft. Like, listen, we're sitting in a position where we can really take advantage of the season. And just let me give you a couple reasons why. We're going to be playing the worst guys from each division in our division. So if we potentially get this much better in the off season, how many more games do you think that we win? What we lost? What, 7 one-score games last season?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so how many of them 7 one-score games we can turn into wins?
Flip half of
5?
them. Yeah, flip half of them. We're 8-win game, 8-win season.
And then the other ones, you just come out and show that you're that much better than these teams. You could potentially get yourself to 10 wins. And there's that turnaround. And now we can get exposure to Drake May in the playoff setting. And now him getting that understanding of what it looks like to get there. And, that learning experience. And hopefully he can go far. But I don't know what's going on with these guys because we just can't seem to nab the big fish. And lately the money's been in their face. Brandon Ayuk, um, Calvin Ridley, you know.
Yeah, at least then we had like Mac Jones. You know, like there wasn't really a thing. And thank God we didn't get either of those guys. Right, both of those guys.
Yeah, they had bad seasons.
Blew out his knee.
Ayuk got hurt.
Calvin Ridley stinks. Like, thank God. But like T. Higgins is better than both of those guys were, right? Brandon Ayuk just happened to have like a really good season. T. Higgins has been that guy since his rookie year, right? And T. Higgins is super young. He's a quarterback's best friend. Like, you have to get T. Higgins. You have to. There's no excuse to not get T. Higgins.
It's because he's what they're missing. They're looking for an outside X, a guy that can dominate on the boundary on his own. That's exactly what you guys are missing. And like I said, I think the other guys will settle into their role then. I think you can have Booty, having being that wide receiver that has those free releases off the line. That could potentially be your two. Or
what's up for Booty? If we get Higgins, if he put 500 and he was like the top guy, imagine getting a little bit of heat off of him and break get a little better. I really like. I'm excited to see what Booty's able to bring. I really like him here.
Yeah, I like him as well. I definitely want to see the team bring some speed in on both sides of the ball. Like we need that. We need that. I think Jelani Tavai might get cut. I don't know. Like, I don't really feel like, bro, we really can get a linebacker. Like, I feel like we've seen his peak already. So whatever this Super Bowl window is, or what we're building, I can get you trying to keep Jawan Bentley there because he can be a fixture to the soul of the team and just the overall defensive scheme that he can pass on to whoever this next young inside middle linebacker that's being gifted the keys to the defense, who's going to be the one with the sticker on his hat. I feel like Jawan Bentley been here since 2018, so he was still around for the good years, more on the back end, but he was here. And I feel like that could be somebody that just gives these guys hope and, getting them prepared. So I feel like keeping players like that around, cool. I really like Jabril, but if we got rid of him, I don't think I would go like too crazy about it.
No, we had a couple rookies step in, and they did a pretty good job. So might as well give another shot.
Like, I just feel like I said, I just want to see this draft class isn't like the most like productive. There's definitely a lot of good athletes in it. So I just want to see us get explosive and faster on both sides of the ball. Because I feel like that was always our problem. We didn't shift towards the game where it's at now. But we have the quarterback to do that. So hopefully we get the right offensive lineman and defensive lineman. Then we can focus on the skill players. I think I'm cool with the corners after seeing what I've seen from Alex Austin.
Yeah.
On the stretch back healthy. like I said, linebacker. I'm almost sure we're gonna see probably somebody added in there, probably a rookie, and
Right? Yeah. I don't see us not drafting a linebacker. Just
yeah,
we have a decent amount of picks, and I mean, right with Mike Vrabel being a head coach, I can see him just itching to get a linebacker. But I'm excited to see what we do with trenches wise. I know you're talking about speed, but just with
yeah.
Vrabel, just what he's been talking about all off season is just he wants the trenches and the offensive line
I
to
definitely want to
be a
see
main
that.
point. I want
I
to
just
see some
want to see
big
who's that
boys.
next guy that come in with. Boom, there's Baltimore,
Yeah, I want some.
Keon White, and whoever what I mean, whoever this guy is. Not to mention, you got Gonzo on the back end, and hopefully Kyle Duggar's healthy, and not to mention Marte Mapu. He he's doing what you would hope for with a third round pick. He's showing progression each year. Will he ever
Yeah,
be a Pro Bowler? Who knows? But I feel like he's learning. And I feel like in some moments in games, he's been an effective player. So I would definitely look towards him next year, probably to have a breakout. I think Anthony Jennings, like I said, that's one of our more underrated players
yeah,
that probably don't get enough credit, especially like thinking about how solidified the Patriots' run defense has been since he came in the building, and definitely with Devon Goshall too, since they brought him in as well. But for what the Patriots just look at last year, the first team ever to hold teams to 10 points or less in 3 straight games and lose them all.
yep,
That's but like I said, hopefully the trenches get better, they get faster, and we put ourselves in positions with all these other teams because with the type of rosters that some of these quarterbacks got and seeing what Drake May could be at his peak, how many people would pass up on him?
right.
Especially if we see a functioning loaded roster, not even so much as loaded, effective playmakers. Because Josh McDaniels, he draws things up. So he's that type of offensive coordinator that I can trust to see to make some adjustments late in game. Never once did I find myself asking myself, like, what the hell is Josh McDaniels doing? Why are you calling that? Like, oh, this looks like this or this. He's insane. He's a true offensive coordinator. So I feel like that's gonna serve us. That's gonna serve us very well because the Van Pelt thing, I don't
Yeah,
know.
we just need smart football. We
Then
need to be
another
able to use who we have. Like this 30 million false starts and holdings and stuff. Like
right.
Josh McDaniels should eliminate, even if he eliminates half of what we've been seeing. Right, we're a completely different team. That's like how far off we've been, like in the last few years.
That quarterback coach, he came from Cleveland too, right? New quarterback coach. I think
Yes,
I with a Brown.
yes, yeah, because he was with Vrabel,
Okay.
which,
Well,
eh,
yeah, like it's
I
something like that O line hire had me a
I wish
little.
we kept our quarterback coach from this past year. I wish we were able to because
Yeah, I
uh,
don't feel like it was nothing wrong. Like, what exactly would have been his problem? That's what I'm
I think it
saying.
was just I think it was the fact that like he wasn't Vrabel's quarterback coach, which I don't know. I mean, it's Drake May's. It's not like Drake May's gonna learn anything that's gonna like ruin his footwork or anything like that, right? It's already been pretty established, so I'm not too worried. But like I feel like it would have been nice to keep him just to have some sort of continuity with Drake, but. Drake's an extremely smart player, and he's obviously very good. So I don't think all these
So,
changes are
yeah.
really going to affect them negatively.
I just hope. I don't know how much Vrabel had influence on the Titans, like drafting and things like that. But I hope if he did, he learned from what the hell just happened because I paid a lot of attention to their picks too. Oh my god. It's definitely like a lot of misses, like the Traylon Burkses and was Vrabel the coach when they took Will Levis?
Who was he?
Because
I
he
don't
took a
think
year
so.
off.
I don't think so. Right, Malik Willis was before him,
Yeah, but Vrabel took a year.
but that
I
was
think
like
he had
before
just got fired that off season, didn't he?
Here, I'm looking
Because
up when he got drafted. So he got drafted in 2023. So Vrabel wasn't around then, right?
Vrabel wasn't only coaching for a year, right? Yeah, he just sat this year out, and this was the 2024 year.
So, Vrabel got fired in 2024. So yeah, he was there for Will Levis.
And Peter
Which,
Skoronski's.
right? How much do we think he's been involved in stuff, right? With the whole AJ Brown thing, right? He
Right.
clearly did not want that. So, like, who knows when he lost a lot of his influence on stuff,
Yeah. Yeah,
right?
because
That front office seemed to have a lot of control over things, and yeah, who knows? I mean, you got Derrick Henry, right? Wasn't he around for Derrick Henry?
yep.
So it's so murky because right, the AJ Brown thing kind of blew everything out. It's like, whoa, I thought Mike Vrabel kind of held the reins here, and clearly not.
Yeah. That's why I'm like, I don't know how much of that sits at his feet. Because I'm not trying to just be like, oh, critical of Mike Vrabel. Like, I'm really trying to just get a full understanding of, you know what I mean? I know who he was for us as a football player. I definitely seen him in Tennessee a couple of times, but you know, it's easy to sit there and see something on the screen. Oh, this is what he did with Tennessee. He took them here and they can reach the AFC Championship. But like I tell a lot of people, I'm a Patriots fan, so you know I want to see some. I want to see some bling. Like I'm not even gonna lie. So
Right.
it's like okay, all that stuff's cool. So now I'm going back looking at what type of players were you bringing in over the last couple of years when he was there. So that just it isn't always an apples to apples situation with situation like that neither.
Yeah.
But I just like I said, I just like to have at least a good picture of it before I can really form like an opinion that I can sit here and say I'm gonna stand on it. Like this is my opinion. It's this, it's that, and the third. It definitely was like some concerns, like as far as like drafting ability. So I just
Yeah.
hope our guys don't try to get too cute because I feel like that's what happens a lot. Like they try to get too cute, and like they said, when Bill passed up on Trent McDuffie. Oh well, who did he cover over there? Like Bill, really?
Right.
How
Yeah.
many guys you bring in from fucking small schools that haven't covered anybody that's still going? And then look at what he is. So
Yeah. Right. Just yeah, because the combine is in 2 weeks.
right.
So
I can't
we'll
wait.
get this. Yeah, I'm pretty excited. Maybe next weekend or next episode, we can kind of dive into who we're looking for, just where it gets a little bit closer. But I'm interested to see who the Patriots start to kind of interview and stuff around that time, just to see what we're really looking for. Because I know, just to kind of briefly get into it, Travis Hunter, he's going as a corner. That's kind of interesting.
Good.
See how that if that's like what he plans on being in the NFL or if that's just what he thinks is best for him for the combine, just to kind of show off that side. But
I
um,
feel like him coming in as a corner makes sense because never do you put your receiver like hit your full-time receiver usually doesn't come in the game on defense as a corner for a couple of plays, but you can have a corner and then you have a certain set of formations or certain things like that that you
yep,
can have that corner come into and be effective, that maybe he can give you maybe a good 300-400 yards on the season but two key touchdowns in tight games. That's just all the difference because everything's always the margin is that close. So
yep,
that's probably what that was. But that's
yeah,
what I like him, but I don't feel like the Patriots need him unless he's going to be a full time receiver.
right, yeah. I mean that's the only way.
Right.
But Yeah, but next episode we'll get into it. I want people who are watching to bring up names that they think as well, because I want to kind of really dive into this, because
For sure.
I think this draft and combine, all that kind of stuff is gonna be huge. But yeah, do you have anything else just before we?
That's pretty much it.
I think combine next week. Just really get into it, because I think that's when the off season is really going to start.
Yeah,
that
for sure.
combine.
But, all right.
All right, cool. Yeah,
guys.
nice talking to you.
We're on to Cincinnati. It's nothing about the past, nothing about the future. It's right now we're preparing for Cincinnati.
Okay, do you feel like the talent you have here is good enough?
We're getting ready for Cincinnati.
What is your responsibility?
I'm just asking, do you think you've done enough to help Tom Brady?
We're getting ready for Cincinnati.